Third down, still needing that yard for the first. Al Noga amongst the Vikings in on the play.
This is what we talked about as far as the Lions, some point along the line making a concession to the traditional way you play football in short yardage and goal line situations. This is Ken Dalafor down on the ground here, and he's had a rough day going against all those great defensive linemen for the Vikes.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned the Lions don't have the conventional short yardage offense, and that means they don't have a tight end, but they have a tight end coach. You know?
The great Charlie Sanders, who played here for the Lions for so many years, is the tight end coach. And, you know, who do you coach when you got nobody to coach?
We were down on the field before the game, and Charlie Sanders was standing around all by himself, no one to talk to, except some coaching friends. And he's a good guy to have around because he can help the receivers. He was one of the best the Lions have ever had from any position.
Yeah, he contributes in his own way. He's up in the booth looking at the Vikings defense and seeing what coverages they're playing.
Dalafor will leave the game, and Joe Malinchek will replace him. Ken Clark is also in the lineup for the Vikings. 3rd and 1 for the Lions. Rodney Peete, and Ray Berry nearly had the easiest interception of his life right in his hands, and he dropped it. And it'll be 4th down, and the crowd boos for the first time today.
Well, this is what Rodney Peete is looking at, the 3 wide receivers here, and his first choice is probably number 84, Richard Johnson, but he was covered by the zone safety there. He went up the field, but the Vikings seem to be reading his mind back there. 4th down.
The Lions will call a timeout, and you wonder, down 20-0, whether they may contemplate, even though they're on their own 42, maybe going for it on 4th and 1. I guess that would be the only reason for the timeout.
You have nothing to lose when you're 1 and 5 and you're down 20-0. How about a quarterback sneak?
But Rodney Peete, it probably wouldn't be a sneak. Jim Arnold came onto the field and then has gone off. So they're going to gamble, quote unquote, on 4th and 1 on their own 42. One thing we haven't seen today is Rodney Peete sprinting out and running as a threat. Here they go, 4th and 1 for the Lions in their own territory. Quarterback sneak, and he's got the first down. And the crowd booing a moment ago cheers now.
We're going to watch Rodney Peete take this sneak right off of Kevin Glover's back here, right between Glover and Dalafor, number 57, and he gets plenty for the first down.
7 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. Rodney Peete, a rookie, going against the top defense in the NFL, learning some lessons today. First down on the 43. Rodney Peete will run, and he gets tripped up by Henry Thomas. Otherwise, Peete might have picked up additional yardage. As it is, he gets to the 46. It'll be 2nd down and about 7.
That really was a nice play by Henry Thomas, or as you said, Dick, Rodney Peete was in the secondary, and he still had Barry Sanders trailing him for a possible pitch down the field.
Thomas goes out. He has been bothered by a shoulder and knee, and Ken Clark, who's been around for 13 years in the league, replaces him. 2nd down and 7. Rodney Peete, Stanley the intended receiver, and Darrell Smith was there for the play, breaking it up.
And that was the first play that Darrell Smith had come back in the game after being shaken up a little bit. They had Darrell Fullington, who's a safety, out there wide going against Walter Stanley, but the Lions play selection never took advantage of that mismatch.
Meanwhile, the report about Thomas is that he was bothered with another shoulder injury. So he's still out. They're taking a look at it. 3rd down and 7 for the Lions on their 46. Here's Stanley. And he can't get away. Gets to midfield, and Darrell Smith grabs a hold and doesn't let go. And it'll be 4th and 3 now. No problem here. Fonts will kick it away as Jim Arnold comes in. What about this decision?
Well, I'm not so sure it's a good decision, but he does have an excellent punter who may pin the Vikings back deep in their own territory.
Leo Lewis calls for the fair catch at the 15. 35-yard kick. Well, in all fairness, there's a difference between 4th and 1 and 4th and 3.
About 2 yards.
Something like that.
Now, what about the Stanton judgment? Tough case?
We won it.
Nice work.
I had a great team.
Bet you she gets a great raise, too.
Our next junior partner should be getting some good financial counsel. Call my Prue Bates broker.
Rock solid.
At Prudential Bates, rock solid means an all-star team behind you, armed with the strength and resources to win.
So, big gun make you a partner yet?
Bang.
Prudential Bates Securities, rock solid, market-wise.
When lunch and a day at the park are too much for Tommy Lasorda, he reaches for Rolaids. Nothing works better for acid indigestion. And why should heartburn take the fun out of the game? Relief. You know how to spell it.
Want to tap into real draft beer taste? Then tap into cold filtered, never heat pasteurized Miller Genuine Draft. Its rich, smooth, real draft taste blows ordinary beers away.
When you have to travel the straight and narrow. Milk it for all it's worth.
Jim Everett and the revved up Rams off to a super start. Now travel to Soldier Field to meet Mike and his Bears next Sunday.
Welcome back to the Pontiac Silverdome in Pontiac, Michigan, where the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings in a Central Division battle, and the Vikings coming in tied for first lead the Lions 20-0 with 5:11 to go in the 3rd quarter. Minnesota's ball on their 16. Screen to Hassan Jones, and a loss on the play. Terry Taylor was right there to make the play.
One thing we're going to see now is the Lions' defensive philosophy change a little bit here. Instead of playing a zone, they're going to have to come up and be more aggressive, play more man coverage. At that time, they were in the bare front, the 46, and they were blitzing.
What might the Vikings do in response to that?
Well, they're going to have to go up top, and you saw the quick pass to Jones that time. Maybe they'll fake that and go over the top with one.
They've got Carter and Jones wide to the left on 2nd and 11. Back to the 15. Herschel Walker on the pitch. Spielman beats him head on. And that's the 10th tackle of the game for Chris Spielman.
And boy, he's paying for every one of those 10. Big gash over his left eye. He's going to have to get to the corner and get his cut man working on that one.
I hope he answers the bell.
You know, he's going to tell him, hey, don't brush it off. I want it to show. He won't touch it. He won't let anybody touch it. Well, maybe a doctor.
4 wide receivers now for the Vikings on 3rd down and 8. The Spielman has repairs done. Tommy Kramer completes to Gustafson. And he's got more than enough for the first down. Ray Crockett makes the tackle and a pickup of 22 yards for the Vikings. As Kramer exercises that shoulder a bit after that throw.
This is the same type of play we saw earlier with Gustafson in motion, going down the field, faking a crossing pattern, and then cutting back to the outside. Good pass protection to begin with for Kramer, and there's Gustafson working against Ray Crockett, and he's given the rookie from Baylor quite a few lessons here. We'll check out Kramer later.
Kramer is connected on 7 in a row, and it's a first down on the Viking 40. Kramer going deep. Carter, and it's well out of bounds. Terry Taylor was covering on the play.
Good job by Kramer, just throwing it away, letting the ball sail out of bounds as Terry Taylor was well deep in his zone. So quiet in here, you could almost hear Tommy calling the plays from the huddle.
Second down and 10 on the 40. Pressure, and down he goes. Jerry Ball gets a sack from the nose tackle position, and that's the third sack of the game for the Lions. A loss that time of 5.
You know, we talked about Jerry Ball becoming a leader on this team and how he is now being regarded around the league as the best. He was drafted in the 3rd round, felt he should have been a #1 pick, but now he's proven to everybody that maybe he was right.
Well, the man he's going up against, Kirk Loudermilk, the center, is a guy who's gotten Ball's Pro Bowl vote every year. So he has a lot of respect for his opposite number today. 3rd and 15, inside handoff, Herschel Walker. And Walker gets 10 of those 15 yards back, but it's not enough. Jerry Holmes on the stop, 4th down, and Scribner will come in to kick for the Vikings. There's Spielman, showing the wares of the war out. Walter Stanley goes deep for the Lions. Scribner's 3rd kick coming up. Heading out of bounds. And let's see where they'll mark it. At about the 23. A 33-yard kick by Scribner. There's Chris Spielman. Lions will get it back with 1:23 to go in the quarter.
Detroit Lions.
Cold filtered, never heat pasteurized, Miller Genuine Draft. For those who've discovered its smooth, real draft beer taste, the world is a very cool place. So tap into the cold. Cold filtered Miller Genuine Draft.
We've been called the turnaround company of the century. We've come from a little fledgling New England company to national recognition with money in the bank, on the verge of explosion.
Peter Lyons gives very good business advice as a volunteer for the Boston Ballet over the last 5 years and as an agent for New York Life over the last 32 years.
Well, it means that we can envision our dreams by having Peter around.
New York Life, the company you keep.
Night, dear.
I think I left the living room light on.
I'll get it.
Oh, the kitchen, too.
Got it.
Control your lights from anywhere in the house. Just buy $15 worth of Stanley tools, and we'll send you a light maker, control unit, and lamp module free.
Did you leave the light on for Chris?
Of course I did.
Also, enter the Stanley Tools Secret to Security contest with 200 prizes, including 10 Chevy trucks at participating Stanley dealers.
Next Sunday on CBS Sports, NFL coverage continues with the NFL Today at 12:30 Eastern Time. Most of the nation will see the LA Rams, whose only loss of the year came last Monday against the Chicago Bears, a big one. Some of you will see the Lions against the Packers. And the second half of the doubleheader, the Philadelphia Eagles against the Denver Broncos, Randall Cunningham and John Elway. That's next Sunday on CBS Sports. Lions start from their 23-yard line. First down, trailing 20-0. Here's Barry Sanders with blockers. And it takes Joey Browner to wrestle him down. The average starting field position has been the Lions' own 17, and Sanders is trying to get into a position to break one.
And he's frustrated. He's not used to not busting a big one. You know, he had that opening kickoff that was called back, but so far you saw the pursuit of the Vikings there. Studwell was over there first, and then Browner. You can't get two better guys to tackle you than those two.
Defense has forced 3 turnovers, capitalizing twice. Second down and 5. 69. There's an audible. Rodney Peete, Stanley, got by Darrell Smith and then is brought down just short of the 40-yard line by Scott Studwell. A gain of 11 and a Lion first down.
Well, we heard Rodney Peete make an audible. This is the play he called. Now he just wants a quick out or quick hitch pattern from Walter Stanley. What Stanley gives you after the catch is mobility. Watch as he jukes Darrell Smith there and picks up about 5 extra yards.
Good move by the former Packer as time runs out in the third quarter. And that is the end of the third quarter here at the Silverdome with the score. The Minnesota Vikings 20 and the Detroit Lions nothing. We now pause for a word from your local station.
This is CBS.
Sponsored by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? The good time, great taste of McDonald's. And by Miller Genuine Draft. Cold filtered for real draft taste. So tap into the cold.
Start of the fourth quarter. The Lions with the ball and a first down on their 39-yard line. 20-0 Minnesota. Rodney Peete will run it and pick up nearly 9. By the way, the Vikings have kept their record clean. They have still not given up any points in the third quarter all season.
Well, that's the good news. The bad news is that in the fourth quarter, they've been outscored 48-7. Now, if we want to carry it any further, the poor Detroit Lions have been outscored in the fourth quarter, something like 24-40. So I don't know what it all means. All I know is it's 20-0 now, and the Lions have got to get a score soon.
Well, they got 8 that time. Second down and 2 on their own 47. Pressure on Peete. Down he goes. That time they sent the linebackers, and Scott Studwell stormed in for the play.
Well, this is Studwell, and he's going to come on the blitz here, and Rodney Peete has got to be able to recognize this and either dump it to a hot receiver or throw the ball away. But he never sees Studwell coming until it's too late.
He's the elder statesman at age 34, but when we talked to him yesterday, it looked like he was only 24.
In super shape, and here's a guy that's still having fun playing the game. That's how you play the game for a long time. It's got to be fun.
3rd down and 6. They lost 4 that time. Another audible called by Peete, and the 30-second clock runs out on him. Delay of the game, 5 yards.
Well, Rodney Peete is taking a beating physically in this game. He's been knocked down a few times, sacked a couple of times. Now Floyd Peters and these Vikings are playing with his mind. They're trying to beat him up mentally. Changing defenses, forcing the audibles, changing. Peete is even having to call 2 or 3 audibles on each play. You've seen him change it a couple of times.
You get the feeling that Floyd Peters didn't empty his bucket in the first half against Rodney Peete with his defensive tricks.
He's got 11 buckets out there.
Now it's 3rd and 11. Going up top. Just past the outstretched arms of Keith McDonald. And that'll bring up 4th down.
Probably the biggest deficiency on this football team, and where they need the talent the most, is in the wide receiver position. The Lions do not have the personnel yet to make this offense successful. Top priority in the draft coming up to find some wide receivers.
Jim Arnold will kick for the 5th time, and Leo Lewis ready to return. Run out of bounds. Where some players are caught up in the action. Keith Karpinski and James Griffin on the stop. So the score remains 20-0, and the Vikings go on offense once more.
Number 49 on the receiving team, post possession.
That'll be Travis Curtis, so they'll move back a bit. 2 minutes gone by in this 4th quarter. Rich Carlos with a couple of field goals. Herschel Walker scored from a yard out, and Alfred Anderson went 4 yards up the middle. That's been the scoring in this one.
And although the Lions defense is much improved in the last couple of weeks, one thing they haven't been able to do all year is create turnovers. They only have 2 interceptions on the entire year.
We'll be back to the Silverdome after these messages.
Ford, America's best-selling cars and trucks for the 3rd straight year. Ford, winning again.
Winning the world over. Have you driven a Ford lately?
Want to tap into real draft beer taste? Then tap into cold filtered, never heat pasteurized Miller Genuine Draft. Its rich, smooth, real draft taste blows ordinary beers away.
Life's full of simple pleasures, like the comfort of Levi's jeans. Or had you forgotten?
This NFL game summary is sponsored by Levi's 506 jeans. Cut a little fuller in the thigh for extra comfort.
Well, the Walker watch shows 83 yards and 1 touchdown, but the Vikings have 2 touchdowns off of the turnovers today. 20-0 to score with 13 minutes to go, and it looks like the Lions not nearly up to what the Vikings, despite their enthusiasm during the week.
Well, they were very confident coming into this ball game, but the Lions are really getting a lesson from the class of the league perhaps right now with the addition of Herschel Walker. The Vikings coming off last week's win that Jerry Burns called the best win he's had as a head coach, as the Vikings head coach, and this game right here is right up there with that performance.
Vikings are playing like they want to have at least a share of the lead again this week. Herschel Walker. Couple of yards for Herschel Walker.
And Herschel's been busy this week. His wife is in town trying to buy a new house up there in the Minnesota area.
First time, actually, he told us that he went anywhere other than the practice field in the hotel.
Well, he wasn't quite sure of exactly where everything was there in Minnesota, but it's a tough transition for anybody. But a guy like Herschel's been used to turmoil in his life, and he's dealing with it.
Second down and 10. Pass to Finney. Ridden out of bounds by James Griffin. You know, he has had a whirlwind kind of existence, you're right, you know, when he was with New Jersey or the Dallas Cowboys, and now he had an incredible week where he had to learn the offense, first the running and now the passing this week, and of course everyone has been talking about his dog, right? I mean,
well, his dog's name is Al Capone, and he's worried about Al because Al is still back there in Dallas. I guess he's having trouble transporting the dog across state lines.
Also, the dog was a little upset with the deal at first.
Well, the dog can't be sitting there reading the papers and listening to the media.
He's trained him right. Third down and 9. Handoff. Kramer. Must have been a fake to Finney. Griffin made the stop and nearly a fumble on the play.
Well, this is that draw play to Finney, and what happens is he leaves too soon, and poor Tommy is just stuck with the ball. Here, number 31 is Finney. He's going to get this draw play, or he's supposed to, but he leaves a little bit too soon. Tommy, because of the high snap, pulls it down. Now watch him get stuck by 1, 2, 3 Lions, and then down to the turf. He's going to be talking to Finney on the sidelines.
Bucky Scribner will kick it away, and Walter Stanley is deep for the Lions. Stanley, and it takes a big Minnesota hop inside the 30. A 50-yard kick. It's one of those things where you sometimes you guess wrong. Minnesota still pitching the shutout with 11:18 to go.
Why is Ford Ranger America's most popular compact truck? Well, the Ranger XLT has a 660 powertrain warranty and cast aluminum wheels. The Chevy doesn't. Ford Ranger has anti-lock rear brakes and electronic fuel injection. And Ranger has it all for less money than Chevy. You can bank on it. The toughest competition we have is ourselves.
See your dealer now for low financing or special savings on 1990 Ford Ranger.
The tornado that hit Council Bluffs took a lot of people by surprise.
All of a sudden, the house starts shaking.
There was such a roar with it, you couldn't hear anything.
There was very bad damage.
But the All-State Catastrophe Team soon followed with some surprises of their own.
When the adjuster came, he took care of the settlement for both the house and the car, and it was all done within that day.
When the adjuster left, I had the check in my purse.
That Allstate really came through for us.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
A member of the Sears Financial Network.
Looks like Daddy's bringing home the barbecue. A big sack of McDonald's McRib sandwiches. Grilled pork and that sassy sauce. Tempting, huh? Like a barbecue in a bun without the bones. And with a big icy Coke, it's, well, you're only human. On Daddy, chomp. The good time, great taste of McDonald's McRib for a limited time, only at McDonald's.
Alabama's 10th-ranked Tide of Crimson rolls into Beaver Stadium to face Paterno and Penn State hot on a 5-game winning streak next Saturday on CBS Sports.
Vikings making some changes in their defensive line. Al Noga and Chris Dolman remain as the ends. Ken Clark and Thomas Struthers are the tackles. We've seen Doug Martin in there as well today with his return to the lineup. Rodney Peete on first down. Bounces in front of Walter Stanley. Incomplete.
Lions are going to go with their hurry-up offense, not go back into a huddle, which is a good move here with 11 minutes to go. Although the clock is stopped because it was an incomplete pass.
Lion wide receivers. Here's the call, the line. Clark, Johnson, McDonald, and Stanley. This pass knocked down by Smith. The intended receiver was Walter Stanley.
Yeah, Darrell Smith is the guy the Lions are going after. He was defensive back coach Pete Carroll's biggest concern coming into this game because he is the 4th best cornerback on this football team. He's had an outstanding day.
Floyd Peters had a very interesting comment yesterday. He said these receivers have come from different places. They don't really know how to wait for the ball, or they have to wait for the ball. They don't have the moves down so set.
Well, the timing isn't quite there. This is a timing offense where the ball has to be in the air sometimes before the receiver makes their break.
Keith Millard back in there for Minnesota. Flip pass to Sanders. He had the first down and then went out of bounds before he hit the sticks. Smith and McMillan on the play, and all he had to do was move forward a little.
Watch as these two receivers come down here and pick. Sanders is going to come out of the backfield here, and then the crucial rookie mistake where he does not go for the first down, rather he gets out of bounds. He's got to just lower his head there and try to split those two defenders and get that first down. The chain markers were right there in front of his face.
4th down, and the Lions will have no choice. Rodney Peete on a quarterback sneak. Lions have a first down. 10:49 remaining in the 4th quarter. 20-0 in favor of the Vikings.
And that was one of the lowest quarterback sneaks you'll ever see. Rodney Peete got right down there with the worms, the plastic worms.
There's the audible again by Rodney Peete. Dolman might have moved. Vikings have it. If the penalty is against Detroit, Al Noga picked it up, but it was Chris Dolman who forced the fumble.
Offside, defense number 56.
Dolman jumped off sides, and that'll give the ball back to Detroit.
Well, you notice that Pete is calling the plays at the line of scrimmage. Dolman is now finding his rhythm, trying to guess with him. You also saw Millard was very close to being offside there as well. That's a veteran defensive line getting a feel for the quarterback's cadence.
They lead the league in sacks. Millard with 12, Dolman with 7. Vikings have 5 today. 1st and 5 now at the 44. Rodney Peete has McDonald, and a first down in the Viking territory to the 42. Scott Studwell on the stop. Pickup of 14.
And that's part of the timing of this offense. That was Pete's best throw. He got back 4 or 5 steps and just let it go in the seam pass. McDonald was there. Big play for the Lions.
On first down, Peete intercepted by Mike Merriweather. Laterals to Browner, but the whistle had blown. Viking ball, and in the first meeting 2 weeks ago between these teams, Merriweather returned a Hipple interception for a touchdown.
Well, Mike Merriweather is the best outside linebackers the Vikings have had since Matt Blair. He is number 57, and he's just dropping back into his zones and just checking out Rodney Peete's eyes. Comes up with a big play.
Fumble recovery and an interception today from Mike Merriweather.
Working to be the best they can be. Teammates, sponsored by the U.S. Army. For America's team, quarterback has long been the dominant position. Classic Craig Morton and running Roger Staubach once shared the quarterbacking chores for Dallas. In a 1971 game, Coach Tom Landry tried an unusual scheme. He had Morton and Staubach actually alternate on every play. A unique arrangement that took advantage of their individual talents and helped make the Dallas Cowboys the best they can be.
I know college won't be an easy climb. That's why I joined the Army. With the GI Bill and the Army College Fund, in 2 years I'll have $17,000 to help me pay for college. And I'm developing the confidence and determination I'll need to help me succeed when I get there. Now I know I can make it to the top, not just in college, but in whatever I do.
Hear this.
I'll get you my pretty.
It's that very special time of year.
Potted plant.
As Major Dad
Request permission and trick or treats, sir.
sends the family out on Halloween maneuvers.
See the treats? Take the treats.
Major Dad, Monday.
What are you going as?
America's finest.
Tuesday.
You're killing our children, damn it!
Wolf takes a crack at a powerful neighborhood pusher to save a young boy in trouble.
You need help, I'm here for you.
Wolf, Tuesday.
Well, the fans and 51,579 showed up today, many of them making their way to the exits.
Oh, they're just going for hot dogs, aren't they?
Something like that. Wade Wilson is the new quarterback for the Vikings. Rick Fenny carries to the 46 where Victor Jones makes the stop. So Tommy Kramer leaves with the Vikings leading 20-0. And gives way to Wilson, who's coming back from a fractured knuckle in his left hand. There's Kramer.
Really a good performance by Tommy Kramer today. 15 out of 20, just missed on 5. The Lions played a lot of zone defense. He was very patient with what he wanted to do, and he played very, very well.
No Minnesota turnovers with 8:57 remaining in the fourth quarter. Second down and 6. The pitch is to Herschel Walker with Anderson blocking. And Kevin Brooks rides him out of bounds. Gain of maybe a yard.
This game now becomes for Bob Schnelker and the offense of the Vikings almost like a practice session where they're so far ahead, they're in such control, they can use a lot of different personnel. That time Novoselsky was in there as a double tight end. Now they can work on Herschel, make sure he knows all the offense. He's giving a new quarterback time to play. So the Vikings are really benefiting from this big score.
Third down and 4. 4 wide receivers. Here comes the safety blitz. Benny Blades was on the move. Wilson got rid of it, and it'll be 4th down. Carter was the intended receiver.
Check out the blitz here from Benny Blades. He's number 36 right here, and he's going to come on the safety blitz and welcome Wade Wilson back to the NFL. Good clean hit.
Bucky Scribner in to kick it away. Back deep is Walter Stanley. Fine kick by Scribner. Stanley will let it bounce. And it goes into the end zone for a touchback. 52 yards that time for Bucky Scribner. Well, coming up after our game here at the Pontiac Silverdome, NFL Today, the post-game show. Brendan Irv with scores and highlights. Plus interviews with some of the athletes who are making the headlines today. We have 7:43 remaining in this one. Lions going on offense again. Have not, well, came close to scoring one time just before the end of the first half. Rodney Peete going deep for Johnson. And he'll be the beneficiary of another pass interference call by Carl Lee. Against Carl Lee, I should say. That's his second of the game.
Real good job by Richard Johnson, seeing that the ball was underthrown, stopping and trying to get Lee out of his way so he can make this grab.
Defensive pass interference, number 39, first down.
Lee had no idea where the ball was, and Johnson did.
45 yards because of that penalty, and the Lions find themselves on the Viking 35.
We talked about how the Schnelker and the offense are making changes. Well, Floyd Peters has gone to a 3-man defensive line now and added an extra defensive back.
Dolman, Noga, and Thomas Struthers. On the delay, here's Sanders. Penalty marker down. They may have a hold, Rodney Peete. And the Lions will be called for a holding penalty, nullifying, wiping out that 11-yard pickup. Rough day today for Wayne Fonts, who had his team on a high after the win last week.
Holding, number 53, offense.
Kevin Glover, the center.
Well, and Pat Haggerty, the referee, called it, so he must have seen it. What he saw was that Glover reached out and pulled his man towards him to open the hole for Barry Sanders.
These are the updated scores. It'll be 1st and 15.
Which is interesting. Why wouldn't it be 1st and 20? Isn't it a holding 10-yard penalty?
Was last time I looked. Peete off the fingertips of Barry Sanders, and now for an NFL Today update on the Washington-Tampa Bay game. Let's check in with him.
Hey, Dick, suddenly we've got a contest in RFK. 22 seconds apart, a turnover, and the Buccaneers are back within 8 points right now. 29-21. We'll keep you up to date on this one. Back to Dick.
All right, Brent. Right now, no contest here at the Silverdome. Vikings have been in control on both sides of the ball, 20-0. 7 minutes to go. It's 2nd down and 15. Rodney Peete has Clark. And Robert Clark is pushed out of bounds inside the 10 by Joey Browner. A 31-yard gain, and the Lions threaten to get on the board here.
Again, it's an underthrown pass from Rodney Peete to the weak side here, to the left side of our screen. Robert Clark is aware of where the ball is, and Reggie Rutland isn't. Seems to be their best play is when he underthrows guys.
Clark is his favorite. He made that clear today. 1st and goal at the 9. Peete has McDonald, and he is down. Audrey McMillan makes the stop at the 8-yard line, pickup of 1. Told you at the top of the game that the Vikings had lost 4 straight road games. Their last win on the road was against these Lions last Thanksgiving Day here at the Silverdome, and they shut out the Lions 23-0.
And they've beaten them 6 straight, going on 7.
Right. 2nd and goal. Peete to the 5. Doesn't get in. Stopped at the 1. And it was Joey Browner and Scott Studwell. And the Vikings don't want to give up that touchdown. maybe what they're playing for right now.
Well, this is the option play. Peete is going to come down the line of scrimmage, and Sanders is going to follow him. Peete turns it up. Good decision there by Rodney Peete. Not enough meat and muscle to get in that end zone, though.
3rd and goal at the 1. Sanders looked like he slipped a bit as he got the ball, and Mike Merriweather had an easy tackle on him, and it's 4th down.
They cannot afford not to score here. This is will be twice now that they've been inside the 5 and come away with nothing. End of the first half really killed them.
They were on the 1-yard line with 8 seconds to go and couldn't get it in. 4th down and goal on the 1. Peete. Touchdown, finally.
The Lions have scored 8 touchdowns, make it 9 now rushing, and quarterbacks now have scored 6 of those. This is the option play again, and Peete, outstanding effort to get in this end zone, and he really pays for it. He had the chance to pitch it back to Sanders, but nice play by Carl Lee forces Rodney to take it himself, and he gets in for the score.
He scored the TD to give him the win against the Buccaneers. Eddie Murray out to try to add the 7th point. And it's 20-7. So now the Lions, with 5:07 to go, still need 2 touchdowns to win this game. No one was giving them any kind of a chance a couple of minutes ago, and I don't know what kind of a chance they have now.
Well, what they have, though, is the perfect offense for this situation. They have driven the ball a couple times very well. What they need to do is score from about the 20 or the 30-yard line instead of working it down in there where they have more trouble with this run and shoot offense. When they get inside the 5, very difficult for them to score. But if there's any team that's capable as far as their offensive scheme is concerned, it's the Lions.
And I guess it's important, Dan, for the Vikings not to get so comfortable like you talked about. Maybe it's a practice time, because the fact is that any team in the NFL can be trailing, you know, by 20-7 with this much time to go and win. In fact, you could score 3 touchdowns.
Well, we'll see what type of decision that Wayne Fonts makes here, whether to kick the onside kick now or kick it deep for the coverage and force the Vikings to drive a long way. One thing the Vikings are countering with, if they do kick it deep, it will be to Herschel Walker.
Which is your poison. There's Walker deep, and the Vikings bring up 9 people up front, all people who can handle the ball. Leo Lewis is the short man, and now they line up. In an unusual onside kick formation. I've never seen this.
Well, they're going to have a great deal of momentum going.
It's got to go 10 yards, and DJ Dozier is there. The ball didn't go 10, and Dozier has it on the Lion 43-yard line.
You're really looking for the rub of the green there in order to get that ball. It's got to bounce almost perfectly. A couple of hops and then one big one up in the air when all those fellas are rushing down underneath it. That time the ball never got that big hop, and Dozier made the easy recovery.
Vikings begin on the Lion 42. Wade Wilson, who relieved Tommy Kramer. Novoselsky in motion. Herschel Walker dives to the 40. Pickup of 2, and the Vikings will be happy to use as much of that clock as they can from here on in.
And if I were the Lions, although they only have 2 timeouts left, I'd be using them right now.
Timeout Story, each team with 2. Bigger role, of course, with the Lions. Second down and 8. Wade Wilson has Hassan Jones, who fumbles, and let's see who recovers. The Lions have recovered. Benny Blades is on top of that ball. And they hope he's all right. That's the first turnover by the Vikings today, and Blades is slow getting up.
Hassan Jones is the man in motion here. He's going to come down and run a little hook pattern over the middle, and he's wide open. Now, he's struggling for extra yardage, and the ball gets bounced out of his hands. And now the Lions are fortunate they didn't give it back to the Vikings, not being able to get their hands on it, but Blades appears to come up with it and get shaken up, and he always seems to be around that loose ball.
And he's big enough to be a linebacker. He's built like Jeff Fuller, safety who can play a linebacker spot. Now it looks like they may be taking a look. Why the delay? Would they be reviewing that?
I'm not sure what there is to review. Thank you, Pat.
They did look at it.
They're probably checking to see exactly where the ball was recovered, exactly what yard line to put it on.
4:18 to go, and the Lions, trailing 20-7, have the ball back. In the grasp, Ken Clark and Rodney Peete in the grasp. That'll be the 6th sack. And right now, for an update, let's check in again with Brent.
Well, Dick, I want to tell you, the Green Bay Packers are one of the more dangerous teams in the 4th quarter this year. Mikowski steps away from the heat, gets a nice block, and throws to Sterling Sharp. Back to Dick.
Miami's been leading. So has Minnesota been. Now, after the sack, pass is complete. Walter Stanley, tackled by Darrell Smith.
You would have hoped that Walter Stanley would have pivoted the other way towards the sideline to get out of bounds, stop that clock.
There's the game clock on the right and the play clock on the left. It'll be 3rd down and 10 now for the Lions on their 35. Peete going deep, and he overthrows McDonald. Covering on the play was Audrey McMillan.
Well, old McDonald had a touchdown there. If Peete didn't overthrow him, he was behind McMillan, and it would have been 6, a very big 6 for the Lions.
Lions have not been able to connect on any of those long pass attempts today. Most of the time, passes have been overthrown. Sometimes on the under patterns, they've been underthrown. It is 4th down and 10, and the Lions, with 3:20 to go, trying to get to midfield on 4th down. Rodney Peete gets hit, and Robert Clark makes the catch and runs out of bounds after the Lions pick up more than enough for the 1st down. And Peete hit a bit. 25-yard pickup on a wobbly duck that wound up in the hands of Clark.
Well, sometimes you just get lucky if you just keep trying. Here's the hit on Rodney Peete from Al Noga, number 99. And there's 2 people that are very surprised that this was a reception. One is Al Noga, the other is Rodney Peete. This ball just floats over the middle there, and there's number 82, Robert Clark. Look what I found, a dying quail.
Might have still been alive. 1st and 10 at the 41 of the Vikings. And they make no mistake that time as Thomas Struthers gets to Rodney Peete, and that is the 7th sack of the game for Minnesota, a loss of 5.
This is the same thing that happened to the Lions in the game 1, where they had a chance to get back in the ball game, but they had too much, they couldn't hold out the defensive line for the Vikings. Here's Struthers, a guy that you don't hear much about because he didn't get to play, making the most of his opportunities.
2nd and 15. Stanley trying to handle the high toss, and Darrell Fullington is all over him with a good defensive play. The Vikings, 25 sacks in their 4 wins. Didn't get to the quarterback much in their 2 losses. And what did Floyd Peters say today about their sacks?
Well, he said that he would be very surprised if they got 8 or more sacks today. I'm thinking, 8 sacks is a career to some ball clubs, and here he's talking. Well, he was right on, very prophetic. They're right about there.
Lions would like numbers like that in the sacks department. 3rd down and 15. Peete overthrew Stanley or Clark that is, by a mile. No one near the ball, and it'll be 4th down again. Tear in Rodney Peete's jersey.
That was from Ken Clark's sack, where he just grabbed him by the jersey, but with one hand wouldn't let him go.
37 attempts by Rodney Peete. The yardage will look good, but when you're throwing that many times, that's not a good sign. Except for a guy like you.
Well, thanks a lot.
4 for 4 on 4th down conversions today are the Lions. That was a compliment.
Oh.
Being chased by Struthers. And he lost the ball. And Al Noga recovers as Rodney Peete lost the handle. Tell you, that's a great sign. They know how much this rookie is going to mean to this team and how much he's working and trying. And there was Jimmy Williams hugging Rodney Peete there as the defense comes on the field.
Well, this young man has a lot of heart. The thing he does that's so important here is he keeps the play alive with his scrambling ability. First he gets away from Struthers, and then he picks up a couple of blocks here, but he's always looking to make the play happen here. This is just rotten luck here. That's all it is. Going to throw the ball and have it just pop right out of his hand. Heartbroken.
He'll have better days, that's for sure. Vikings 1st down on the 49 of the Lions. Walker. Tell you, that Lion defense doesn't stop. Benny Blades drove him back as the clock is running down to the 2-minute warning. But first, the Lions will call a timeout. We'll leave them with 1.
Good job by Herschel Walker of not running out of bounds and stopping the clock, forcing the Lions to use their 2nd timeout in the 2nd half.
Interesting how Minnesota's dominated this game. Lions get a touchdown and actually have had some opportunities. They recovered a fumble, and if they had some sort of a synchronization with their offense, they might have made this game a lot closer than it's been.
Well, I think that last play really epitomizes and capsulizes this entire game. They have not played well, but they have never given up, and that's what Wayne Fonts has instilled in this ball club, is that, listen, we're young, we're going to make mistakes, but listen, all I can ask for you is to try your hardest and don't give up. And you got to feel for a guy like Rodney Peete. This has been a very trying day for him, but he'll be back and he'll play well.
2nd down and 11. In and out of the hands of Hassan Jones and nearly intercepted by Jimmy Williams.